Have to erase it. Good.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here today at the Iron Triangle Parchester Village Neighborhood Council's Candidates Forum. Tonight, we're going to have a forum here for the West Contra Costa Unified School District Area 2 candidates, Otheree Christian, the incumbent, and Guadalupe Enllana. And you will get to hear questions derived based on input from the community and those folks that are part of the neighborhood councils. And with that, I'm going to hand it to our moderator who will describe the format of today's debate. So thank you all for being here, and thank you to the candidates as well.
Thank you very much, sir. Again, my name is Don Gosney. I'm the moderator for this evening's forum. I want to thank the Iron Triangle and Parchester Village Neighborhood Councils for hosting this fine affair. We are going to become better informed voters by the time this is over with tonight. Just some basic housekeeping rules. The candidates, please turn off your cell phones. Do not use them during the forum. No electronic devices will be allowed. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to present themselves. In this presentation, state in the opening statement, state your name and your history of living and working in the Area 2, followed by anything else you wish to highlight. Please include what distinguishes you from your fellow candidate. Because there are only 2 of you here tonight, as we'll be going back and forth as far as who gets to lead, starting with Ms. Enllana. There will be only about 4 or 5 questions that we'll ask in this race. The allotted time for each question will be split into 2 rounds as we as detailed below. A countdown clock will be displayed that indicates the amount of time the candidate has left to respond. It'll be round 1 of question 1. You will get 2 minutes to answer the question, followed by the other candidate having 2 minutes to respond. After each candidate has spoken, that marks the end of round 1. Okay, round 2 of question 1, we'll be starting with that initial candidate, and they will be provided additional time. As this is a debate, candidates can rebut one or more of the candidates' comments from round 1, compare or contrast other candidates' positions, or pass. This time cannot be used to simply elaborate on your round 1 statement, or the moderator may stop you. That's me. All right. After each candidate has spoken, that marks the end of round 2. And then we'll go into a closing statement. After all the questions have been asked, each statement will have 2 minutes to close in any manner that they wish. Candidates will close in the exact opposite order used during the opening statements. The format allows all of you the chance to comment not only on your own platforms and ideas, but those of the fellow candidates, with time constraints forcing you to be strategic in your responses so that a number of key issues can be covered. Candidates can determine the response strategy they see fit to employ. Candidates will need to be respectful of one another and avoid inappropriate language as well as interruptions. This is a countdown clock will be displayed. It indicates the time left to respond to questions. When your response is up, the moderator will let you finish your sentence, but will shut you down after 5 seconds. With 15 seconds left, you'll see a yellow light off to my side, just giving you a fair warning. Wrap it up. Okay. Before we get into the questions themselves, we will give Ms. Enllana an opportunity for an opening statement.
Hello everyone, good evening. My name is Guadalupe Enllana and I am running for the West Contra Costa School Board Trustee Area number 2, the Richmond area. I am a daughter to immigrant parents that came here from Mexico. They immigrated here for a better future. I was born and raised in Richmond, California. I attended West Contra Costa schools, and I did as the English language learner, so that made it a little bit more difficult. I am a mother of 5 boys, one with special needs. I've been a fierce advocate in this community, really making sure that I am bridging the school with the city side to, hold more accountability. I sat as the Citizens Forum Oversight Committee Vice Chair. I sit as the LCAP member. I sat on the ELAC. I participated in the first inaugural cohort with UCLA around community schools. I am the current chair for the Children and Youth Oversight Board for the City of Richmond. And I think being able to participate in these spaces has given me the opportunity to learn more about what's happening in our communities and our schools. And also given me the experience to figure out how to work budgets and how to implement systems. I think that's a big need. I'm an independent thinker, so I'm not tied to any group or special interest. I believe that every board member needs to have independence, needs to have a voice. For me, I believe that we need a much better advocate when it comes to voicing our concerns on the school board. Most of our needy schools are in the Richmond area. And that's why I believe that having a strong voice on, to represent the Richmond areas in need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Christian,
Yes.
opening statement, please.
Yes. Good morning. I'm about to say good morning. But good evening to everyone, to the Iron Triangle Neighborhood Council, and also Parchester Village. I had great privilege of being on the Iron Triangle Neighborhood Council and worked tirelessly from 2005, all the way to around about 2015 on the Neighborhood Council. And I worked with Cheryl Mayer, Doris Mason, and also Garetha Johnson. We worked on many things in the Iron Triangle. This is my home, and I grew up here, and born and raised in Richmond. I attended Martin Luther King School, I attended Adams Middle School, and I attended Kennedy High School. These schools, all of my family went to these schools and graduated from Kennedy High School, and I'm proud to be an Eagle. And so, with that being said, it's about working on improving our schools. And the first 4 years was challenging because we just came out of COVID. We were involved in so much stuff. And you know how you had your first bike and you rode with training wheels? You ever had training wheels? And then you eventually get the training wheels off. And then you're able to ride, but then you fall and scrape yourself, and you learn along the way. Well, there's mistakes has been made. But the thing is about improving and doing better and moving forward to carry this school district, because we're dealing with some challenging times in this school district. And right now, we have to have people that experience, people that is committed to this district and to the kids in this district. I've been involved in many projects in the city of Richmond. I've been on the commissions in the city of Richmond. I've done a whole lot in the city of Richmond. And not only just to say, I come from Lily Mae Jones, who is my auntie, who did a lot of things, more than a whole lot of other people have done. And so, with that being said, Lily Mae Jones class is right down the street, named after Lily Mae Jones. So with that being said, I'm here and committed to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with those kinds of opening statements, this is going to be exciting. Okay, we are going to start with the very first question with Ms. Enllana. Refocusing the camera here. Okay, Stige Elementary. The relocation of Stige Elementary highlighted inconsistencies in how the district funded school renovations. The people of Stige demand a new school, but the board has budgeted only about half the funds necessary for a total rebuild. The only available funds for a Stige rebuild would have to come from downscoping Kennedy and Richmond Highs. Would this be something you would consider? And how long do you think it would take before the Stige community would see a new school? Ms. Enllana.
Okay, well, when it comes to reconsidering taking away from Richmond High and Kennedy, I think that's a straight no. And I only say that because decisions have already been made. So it wouldn't be fair to take from Peter to pay Paul. And I think that's what we do a lot in this district. So when it comes to that, I think we need to figure out, budgets, and we need to figure out where we could bring in extra revenue into the school district to bring in the money that's going to take to give Stige a full rebuild. I think it's necessary that they have a full rebuild and that they're just not being tossed from site to site into sites that are not up to par with every other school in this district, especially every other rebuild that we've had in this district. I think it was a mistake when trustees actually made the decision to put Richmond High and Kennedy above Stige because they weren't next on the list. So I think, decisions were made, mistakes were made, but now we are paying the consequences to that. There was a lawsuit in sight. That prompted us having to make sure that we relocated Steege immediately without looking at the concerns of the community. And when I say concerns is, how were the parents weren't involved in this process. 3 weeks before starting school wasn't the perfect time to actually get the move going. This should have been something that started beforehand. And I think that's the miscommunication. The board is usually making decisions without taking parent and community voice at the forefront. That's what I wanted to bring to the table. I want to make sure that, my stance in the community, my stance working with the parents directly, seeing the things that are happening, I'm able to voice those concerns. And because I am here for our students and our parents and our community as an independent, then that's what I'm going to raise to the board.
Thank you very much. Mr. Christian, I'm sure you have comments on this.
Oh yeah, I have plenty of comments on it. Yes, Steege is going to be fully rebuilt. One of the things that I'm working on right now is partnership. I have met with Tony Thurman, State Superintendent of Education. I met with John Joya. We had someone from Chevron, and we had other, the superintendent into Trustee Gonzalez Hoy was there. And so we met to discuss ways, partnership, and I forgot to mention John Gary Minnie's office. So we are working. Right now, we have $43 million to rebuild Steege, but we just are short of a downfall of 27. So we're working on that to get that, and I'm working tirelessly, trying to really muster up to bring in revenue to rebuild. I wish this question would have been asked about De Anza and Pinole Valley and Otheree High School, where a lot of that money went, and for the powers to be who was over that, put it out there in those schools. Taj Mahal is Pinole, DA, and Otheree. So they took away from a lot of money, which Steege was supposed to be a rebuild back in 2010. And then it's supposed to be in 2016. And so this didn't happen overnight. This happened way back. So the thing is, we came out of COVID. We dealt with a lot of issues. And then there was a lot of things that was happening where the truth is not being told. It's just like saying, you see Donald Trump, right? Not telling the truth. Anyway, we had a facility guy named Louis Freeze who didn't tell the truth. And he allowed so much stuff to happen, but it just didn't happen overnight. It happened throughout the years. Throughout the years. And so it's no point of blaming, but now what can we do now to move forward to make it happen?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Christian. You have an opportunity to rebut what Mr. Enllana has said.
Just to rebut on Steve, I heard that you said you didn't want Steve to be rebuilt, and you was telling the parents to move the kids to another school site.
She can't respond. It's just you speaking.
Yeah. You can keep speaking, and she can respond to what you say in her turn.
Yeah. Well, that was brought up that you was telling the kids. But we're going to get Steve rebuilt, and it's through partnership, and it's through working with the entities out here. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm running. I'm not on training wheels. I'm running.
Thank you. Ms. Enllana, you have any thoughts on what Mr. Christian has been saying?
Well, rebuttaling on his last comment, I think it's he said, she said. I think this is a whole bunch of deteriorating what the issues are. Because you can't go based upon if you're not seeing or hearing it directly from my mouth, then don't go off of what somebody else is telling you. But I do want to mention that when he's talking about how, people made decisions, he was the decision maker. He sat on the committees for the facilities back in June of 2021, where he made the decision to put Richmond High and Kennedy on the facilities list above Steege. He made that decision to make that recommendation to the Board of Education, which then the Board of Education, in June 23rd, made the decision based upon Mr. Trustee Christian and Trustee Phillips' recommendation to approve it. So he was one voice, one vote, but that recommendation came from the facilities committee, which he sat on back in June 17. And I think we have to hold these people accountable. We have to hold our community accountable, our trustees accountable for the work that they're doing. When we're talking about lives, take responsibility. Like you said, you've having pitfalls, now you're just trying to come back and remedy, saying that you're trying to work in partnership. Yeah, partnerships are important, but partnerships with the people that are you're affecting is the first partnership that you need to bring to the table. That means parents, community, and students. Like, we're talking about not just the education, we're talking about the health concerns of having these students in a space where there were, with so many mishaps, just physically, emotionally, and now we're trying to deter that. You are our representative. You are our Richmond representative, and I say that because my kids are in these schools. So you are the person who's supposed to be on site looking out for our schools, and if you're not doing that, don't worry about what the representatives from Diaz or Kennedy are doing. You represent us. You represent Richmond schools, and they're the lowest performing schools.
Thank you very much, Mr. Christian. I'll be in charge of telling you the time, okay? I will give you the same kind of accommodation that I would give every candidate. Thank you, though. Okay, we're going to go on to the second question, and that will go to Mr. Christian. I said to start with. It's on the budget. The school district continues to suffer from budget shortages due to various factors. First question, what qualifications do you possess that make you better suited to address these issues relative to your other candidate? And the second question, what specific plan or plans do you have towards establishing a healthier long-term budget?
All right, thank you. The current board right now has successfully implemented the fiscal solvency plan for the 2024 and 25 school year to effectively address the structured budget deficit. Our current approved budget means the qualification for positive certification. We have addressed the structured deficit concerns and can meet the district financial obligation over the next 3 years. The district has implemented collaborative processes to address the budget concerns. Is collaboration with staff, community, and labor. We have made great progress to move towards the fiscal solvency. While the ADA funding is a concern and statewide due to declining enrollment, our district is committed to making a necessary reduction to ensure that our resources and revenue are aligned to meet the needs of our students. So the whole state of California, a lot of schools are dealing with issues of the deficit. San Francisco is dealing with a deficit. Oakland is dealing with a deficit. There's many schools that are dealing with a deficit because the declining of enrollment and declining of how things are being students, either they're moving away or either they're going to a private school or somewhere. But we are declining. And so, but we are working on improving the budget, improving the structural deficit so that this district will not be taken over, but that this district will survive and be moving and thriving down the road.
Thank you very much, Mr. Christian. Ms. Enllana.
Okay, so we have approximately 26,000 students within West Contra Costa. I think when we're talking about how do we manage the budget, we also have to talk about how are we not managing the budget. How are we not making sure that our kids are attending schools, that they are there on a daily basis, because we are losing revenue every day that a child is absent. I think really making sure that we are focused on having campaigns to educate our parents and making them aware of how important it is for their children to come to school every day. Also, marketing. We have to sell our schools, but we can't sell our schools in the shape that they are right now. We need to better our schools. We need to make sure that our parents want to stay in West Contra Costa. That they want to be at their local school. We need to have active community participation. When we're talking about partnerships, what do I plan to do? We need to really build out community schools. What does community schools look like? They look like hubs, that are within the community. that are giving resources to the community to be able to like also have, that budget stability, budget coming in. Because if we could stabilize the budget with resources from the community, then it actually helps our students. We have to have innovative revenue strategies as well. We have a lot of sites that are able to be rented out, to bring in revenue. We can rent out our fields. We have our, halls that we're able to rent out, our multi-purpose room. We need to figure out how we could get those and sell them to our community for them to use as events. For their events, for their community events, and make, our community proud to hold these spaces. So to me, it's just being really innovative on how do we also bring in extra budget to fulfill the needs of our students. And that means putting our students first.
Thank you very much. Time for rebuttals. Ms. Enllana. You have any comments on what Mr. Christian had said?
I think my only rebuttal is that, and this is just, we're always measuring ourselves to the bottom of the dish. We always say who's doing worse than we are to try to elevate where we stand. We say, they're doing worse than we are, but we're okay. I think that we need to change that mind frame and really start measuring our abilities with the people on the top. Saying there's 50 schools, 50 districts above us. How can we get there? Not, there's 20 below us. So I think, really changing our mind frame of how we see things with education is gonna, be really impactful. Saying that, everybody else is doing this, like what are we trying? To the trustee, not as a rebuttal, it's like, I wanna know what you've done personally to move the budget, to support our students within, our area. I believe that, we need strong leadership because our students are failing. Our African American students are continuing to fail, regardless of the supports that need to be, presented and put up for them. Our English language learners are also failing. We have, multitude of newcomers coming in. How are we supporting those students? Like, how are we supporting students, staff, and how are we actually bringing people to our schools? We can't blame this on people leaving. We have to blame this on ourselves because if they're leaving, it's because they found something better somewhere else. So we need to bring them back, and that only means by cleaning up our own house, by dealing with our own issues and making our schools better so that people want to come back to us.
Thank you very much. Mr. Christian, do you have a rebuttal to what she has said?
Yes. She mentioned community schools, marketing. We already doing that. We were working on community schools, and I've been very involved working in community schools. Because community schools, yes, it is a hub, and it is a venue to bring the community together. Area 2, which we are working on to improve Area 2, such as marketing. I already been talking about marketing, how we should, as a district, market ourselves out there. So there's many things that we're working on, and I'm working on, and to improve this district, because this district, you mentioned African American student. I'm an African American. And so I came to this district, and I know the rules and the things of what happened in this district, even when I was a student. So with that being said, the African American students are behind. Why are they behind? It's because there's a lot of things that been going on for many years. It just didn't happen overnight. And just looking at the whole outcome of this is that we have to have somebody in here knowing what they need to do on day one, and it's to finish the job. And that's what I want to do, is finish the job, because I know what needs to happen to improve the newcomers, to improve the African American students, to improve the whole district as a whole. We have a diverse district of many nationalities in this district. I worked at Elspeth High School. I spent over 15 years at Elspeth High School. I worked there. I worked inside the schools to know what's going on in the schools. And knowing that from every student that I dealt with, from Latinos to African Americans to Middle Easterns to all racial backgrounds, I worked with all students. And so the thing is, there's a lot that needs to happen. But this beast didn't start overnight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Christian. Let's go on to the next question. Safety. This would be Ms. Enllana's chance to speak first on this. Parents have indicated that safety at schools has deteriorated in the last couple of years. Two-part question. Do you believe that having site resource officers, SROs, would help? And what other policies or programs do you believe will help?
Well, I think, like I said again, parents are making decisions on where to send their kids. It does have a lot to do with the safety, but it also has to do a lot with the culture and climate of our schools. Do our parents feel welcome? Do they feel safe leaving our students, in these sites? I believe that, our role is to ensure that the superintendent has a plan. As trustees, we are to make sure that he has a plan of safety, maintaining safe and supported sites across our district. We need comprehensive anti-bullying campaigns to really figure out, what does bullying mean? I think, we use a lot of language and terminology, but, we're not really speaking to where people aren't understanding, to where we are all on the same page, to we're all understanding, the impacts and, what's really happening on our sites. I do a lot of site visits as a parent. So I'm a parent volunteer. I've been here for over, like I said, a parent. My oldest is 28, so I've been really involved, making sure that I build community visiting different schools as a parent, figuring out what's going on, what issues we're having. But we also have to have supportive policies in place to support our school sites. We have policies that are written, but we don't have policies that we're actually adhering to and following through it. A lot of things look great in writing, but it's actually the work that comes to reinforce, these policies. I believe that we as trustees need to, take a step back, visit our schools, and be that face to where we are seeing what's going on at our school sites, so that we're taking it to a board to be able to address the needs and the concerns, because every school site is different. It's not all across the board where every school site is dealing with the same thing, so we have to learn to know, our schools. And, really making sure that our students are safe when they're coming into school, but really, like I said, building out a whole community school setting where we're not just talking about the inside of our schools, but we're having community have an impact on the schools as well.
Thank you very much, Ms. Enllana. Mr. Christian, what do you say about the safety?
Okay. Safety was my area at Otheree High School. I was the campus safety supervisor at Otheree High School, and I made sure my co-workers that I worked with closely during every school day, we made sure we engaged every aspect of the students. We knew the temperature. We knew everything that was going on from physical to emotional. We were involved in the lives of the kids. And we have at Otheree High School what is called James Moore House. They call it JMP. JMP was a center for students who might be bullied or students who might be going through certain situations. And so we made sure that anytime we sense that, we take that student there to JMP to receive services such as community schools, to receive services to be helped. So safety throughout the whole district. I done visit all of my schools in my area too. I've been to every last one of these schools and to know what's going on. And not only that, but people call me and tell me what's going on to give me like an update if I'm not able to make it there. And so safety, I'm concerned about safety from Perry's to Nishka, to Carnata, to Ferdy, to King School, Michelle Obama, Kennedy, Greenwood, the middle school, DeJohn Middle School. So I'm concerned about, and Steve, I'm concerned about all the safety of our kids, making sure our kids are there to learn and to be able to get an education. But if they bully, that takes away because they're afraid to come to school. So I'm concerned about safety, and I am that safety officer.
Thank you very much to both of you. Before we go on to the rebuttal on this particular issue, I'm going to go back and ask that you include in your rebuttal, do you believe that having site resource officers would help? I didn't hear a response from either one of you on that. Mr. Christian, your opportunity for rebuttal.
We cannot go back to the site officers because it costs too much. And we don't have the money, with that being said. So we have to equip the campus safety staff to be more efficient, to be more alert, to be ready to go, to deal with all the issues that they deal with on a daily basis. And a lot of these were my former co-workers that I work with. So we got to continue to provide them with the resources and the things they need to provide good safety.
Thank you very much, Ms. Enllana. Your rebuttal.
So I don't believe that we need SROs on site. I do believe that we need staff on site that's actually trained to deal with mishaps happening on campus. I think that we have, campus safety officers, but I also believe that there needs to be more training done around how to manage certain happenings on school grounds. How do we deal with children who are coming into our schools broken and that, keep breaking them even more? I think, having the knowledge to be able to determine, what's going on and having plans in place before things escalate are going to be instrumental to how we do things, to bring out that safety aspect of, school sites. When, it comes to policies and programs, I think this has to be like all hands on deck. From, like I said, from the parents to the staff to the district. We really have to work things out in partnership. And I keep hearing, I know what's best. I know how to do things, I know. But this isn't an I thing, this is a we thing. Like, how do we start moving? How do we partner up? How do we come up with these plans? Like, I don't need a dictatorship where people are telling me what's good for my child. I know what's good for my child, and I can come onto the site and, be that person working in partnership to figure out things for our community. And like I said, this is something that's not just gonna be an I thing, this is a we thing. Past the election, this is gonna continue to be a we thing. And we have to really build on community. We really have to make sure that the community is engaged and knowing that whatever happens outside the school walls are impacting what's happening inside the school walls. So we need to really build out, like I said, how we interact with each other as community and how we give each other the space to learn and to grow and to make our children feel safe. And that only means by having, policies in place and trainings that are effective.
Thank you very much. We are going to go to our last question of the night. And we're out of time, and we could stay here all night and keep talking about things, because this has been interesting and illuminating. But we're going to start with Mr. Christian. On educational reform, can you identify the educational shortcomings that impact Area 2 students the most? And what plans do you have to solve these problems?
Yes, thank you. When I look at Area 2, the foundation is the most pivotal point, and that's elementary. The resources need to be there in the elementary schools because that is the area where it's going to help all students. Not some students, but all students to be stronger and better. Because if we don't invest into our elementary schools like we should, and I've seen a lot over these last 4 years, and now I'm seeing how things got to change. So we have to have educational reform. It has to be. Education has to be enticing and learning. And one of the things my professor said in college, one of my things my professor said is that if the teacher doesn't teach, well, that teacher ain't doing his job or her job to be effective in the classroom. So we got to have more of effective teachers, teachers that are ready to go and to make things happen. And so, but like I say, stuff been operating over the years and it's so kind of messed up, but we have to push towards reforming. And that's one thing I will push the board, that we will have educational reform so that we, not I, we can do a better job equipping our young people in these schools. And so I'm deeply concerned, and I care about these kids because I have nieces and nephews in these schools, and I care about the young people. And so why I'm doing this? I'm doing this to make this district to be a more responsible and a better district than what it has in the past. We're working on mess that started from way years ago. It's hard to clean up, but we're gonna make sure that we push towards cleaning everything up like we should.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. Last question from you, Ms. Enllana.
Okay, well, the quality of education needs to be, upfront firsthand. I think directing the superintendent to create and implement an evidence-based roadmap across all schools is necessary. Enhance supports for struggling students and interventions for those that are falling behind. I also think that we need to, really support our teachers. We're trying to keep teachers here. We're trying to fill positions that have been vacant. And, we're always talking about the money. I think, Trustee has brought up a lot of the money issues, like we don't have enough money. But I don't think our students should, have to deal with the consequences of our actions when it comes to the budget. So, really making sure that we are equipping the teachers that we do have with supportive strategies and giving them the opportunity to be able to teach. How are we supporting our teachers? How are we supporting our staff to be able to then get the educational outcomes that we need from them? Really focusing on reading, making sure that we're fostering the love of reading to our students when they're really young. Reading takes part in everything. The education achievement of students comes from the love of reading. Making sure that our parents are understanding of why we need to read, why they should be reading, and that means reading anything. Going back to we said, when, we didn't have maybe all the books and all the, stuff that students have now, but just like reading, sitting at the kitchen table, reading a box of cereal. But, maybe we're not eating cereal anymore, right? So it's just like those things of how to engage parents and how to really bring them back into the basics of, supporting our students. But really, I think the support has to come from up top, making, systems in place that are going to support our teachers for them to have the best outcome possible.
Thank you very much. That was all of our questions. Before we get into the closing statements, I just want to add a little personal comment in here. I've been with the district in one way or the other now for 56 years. I attend almost every school board meeting, start to finish, one way or the other. I've served on a lot of committees, but this has been educational. Unfortunately, when we show up at school board meetings, we get 2 minutes to speak at the public comment, and there's no back and forth on here. Here we've got an opportunity to learn more about what our trustees or potential trustees actually think, and that's a very positive thing in my mind. But now, here's your opportunity to really wow us. All right? Have a closing statement. Mr. Christian,
All right.
you're first.
You put me first. All right. Thank you, sir. First, I want to thank everybody, the Iron Triangle Neighborhood Council, Parchester Village, for coming together to sponsor this event. And I just want to say this, that I am a descendant of slaves in this country. All my forefathers, my family, people who died to fight for equality. I am running for re-election to the West Country Costa Governing Board because I care deeply about our children and families, because I want to continue my work to help them succeed. I am a product of this district. I graduated from Kennedy High School. I earned my degree from Howard University, Southwestern Christian College. I spent my career protecting children. Before election to the board in 2020, I was the lead campus safety officer at Otheree High School. I'm proud of that. Since my election, I have entered the classroom. I'm becoming I'm a substitute teacher now. I'm working on my full teaching credential to be a full-time teacher in this district. Not this district, but Oakland School District. I have always committed to serving my community, and I was past president of the Iron Triangle Neighborhood Council. Woo-hoo! Iron Triangle. And the Richmond NAACP, I was the president. As your school board member, I have focused on safety, navigating COVID issues, removing barriers to learning, and working in partnership with our entire school community. Much more remains to be done. And we need to consider our budget on learning, expand career technical education, increase investing in community schools, and focus. And I've been supported by all the labor unions, and Tony Thurman, and Nancy Skinner. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we get to you, Mr. Enllana, I just want to make a clarification for the audience here and for the people watching at home on the video. When you mentioned that you would be a full-time teacher, for instance, in Oakland, as a trustee, an elected official, by law, he cannot be an employee of the West Contra Costa Unified School District. I suspect if he had an opportunity, he would be here. But that's, again, just want to make sure people didn't understand that he was not shying away from his own home school district. Yeah. Thank you. All right, Ms. Enllana.
My closing statement, I just want to speak, like I said, directly from the heart. I think I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I am really genuine with the words that I speak. I am not prompted. I, really speak on how I feel, and I've been really vocal when it comes to our children's education for many, many years. Really standing up for all students, standing up to the inequalities that our district has given us. So, what makes me the better candidate? My independence, my voice as an independent person, my community that supports me, the community members that I work with day in and day out. That means, my neighbors, the local neighborhood councils that I attend, many of them, because not just one, many of them. And, really making sure that I'm building out and that I'm tackling not just from the school side, but also tackling the education of our students and the supports that they need from the city side as well. Making sure that, we are holding trustees and city council members accountable for our children's education. Really making sure that we are coming together, that we are being impactful, and that we are being genuine with our asks and our concerns. I think as parents, we have a right to be mad, we have a right to be angry, and our trustees have a right to, they have to listen. They have to listen, and I think when it comes to why I'm the best candidate is because I am here to listen. I am a team player. I've been a team player, and I am really supportive, but I'm really independent, and I'm accessible. So that means that you know where to find me. You know where to find me, whether that be, at a neighborhood council meeting, whether that be at home, or my, direct cell phone number, because it's on all my flyers. So, really, I am the best candidate because I am, independent.
I want to thank you, Ms. Enllana. I want to thank both of our candidates. As somebody who has sat where you were right now, in 2016, I participated in 28 sets of interviews and candidate forums. It is tiring. It takes you away from your family. So I hope that the audience here applauds you just as I do. Thank you very much for even putting yourself forward on something like this. It's been very illuminating to hear what you all have to say on this. But thank you again. And as far as the forum itself, the debate, please understand, nothing ever just happens. Somebody has to make it happen. The good people of the Iron Triangle Neighborhood Council, the good people of the Parchester Village Neighborhood Council, they made this happen. And so they deserve our applause and thanks as well. Because again, we need these kinds of events to help us become better informed voters. And with that, we will close out. I believe we still got a little bit of food left, so.
You're going to take pictures?
We will. I got to finish the meeting first. Thank you very much.
Thank you.